Welcome back to 2 Wants to Know. Louis Panzer with NC's 811 is joining us today to answer your questions about 811. What it is, it's the organization that you call when you want to dig anything in your yard. You know, someone just asked, if I'm just digging bulbs and putting those like small plants in there, do I really need to call 811?
Yeah, so I mean, as I said before, the main thing is if you are concerned that you're going to hit something, the service is free. So you may as well go ahead and reach out if you're going to be digging. You have any doubt that there might be something in conflict. It is legally required of anyone who's digging, if they're going to be approaching a right-of-way or a permitted use access, which could be a line running from the street to your home. So it's just a good idea to do it since it doesn't cost anything, and it gives you that peace of mind to know that you understand what those items are that are there.
All right, so this person is asking, why are cable companies not required to bury their cable more than 1 inch deep?
So depth is a really interesting thing. Of course, we don't install cable or do anything like that at NC 811, but I know that there are some requirements in the initial installation, specifically, like for example with electric cable. I'm not 100% sure what their model is or how they do this, but I can tell you that the reason we don't want people too confident or dependent on depth as something to tell them if they're going to be in conflict is because the shape of the ground, the depth of those facilities could change as a result of erosion. A day like this where we're getting an inch of rain, flooding or any kind of thing like that, just natural erosion or even reshaping of the area can change that depth from where those utilities are. So we just ask that you don't rely on that idea of depth, and just really be more concerned with the XY plane of where those lines are, and make sure that you expose them before if you're in that area.
All right, so this question is, how far are you in the clear to dig measured from location marks, like when they mark certain things in your yard?
Sure. So that's a great question. The lines themselves are an approximate location of where that facility is. And there exists what we call a tolerance zone, which is a space 24 inches on either side, so 2 feet on either side of those marks. If you're outside of that boundary, you should be safe. If you're working within that boundary, you need to hand dig until you expose the facility before you introduce any mechanical equipment. And again, that's a state statute requirement.
Aha, so 2 feet on each side of where they mark it is where you cannot dig with machinery. You have to hand dig it so that you can see where that line is.
And once you have exposed it and are able to protect it, you can introduce mechanical at that time. But the first thing to know is within that, you must expose it with hand tools and hand digging before, or soft digging, water, hydraulic, and that kind of thing.
So this person says, I'm putting posts down for a privacy fence. Do I need to call 811?
Yeah, especially a privacy fence. It's probably on your easements. Between properties, those are typically areas that are considered to be where facilities might run. Again, they're rights of way in between the properties. So it's just a really good idea if you're doing anything around your perimeter that could include the front, the back, the sides, to go ahead and notify, because that you may encounter a conflict with that.
So this next question, it's interesting that they're asking this. When calling 811, do you just give the physical address, or how specific of a location on the property is needed?
That's an excellent question. So we do ask a series of questions, and we do want to know if you're planning to work in the front or the back or the side. You'll be asked those questions. Also, if you're able to, there's something that's called white lining, where you can use white paint or flags to designate exactly where you want to dig. And that's super helpful for the people that come out to mark, because they can see exactly where on the property you're going to dig. And then, that gives them a much better indication when they're providing marks to show you what kind of conflict might be there.
All right. Those are great questions, great answers. Thank you so much for your time and your expertise. Remember, 811 is a free service, and there's even an app for that, right?
There is an app for that. It's free as well. And you can use that app to find out if there's work happening around you. There's a tool in there called Near Ticket. A lot of people want to know why there's marks, and so that'll help you to discover what's going on out there.
Fantastic. All right, we got the app as well. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for your questions. If you missed any of it, it will be in the 2 Wants to Know section.